Now we burn incense in regard to the precepts, meditation, and emancipation. May the light and fragrant cloud of this incense pervade the Dharma world. We offer this incense to the countless Buddhas of the worlds of the 10 directions. May we be able to see and partake of the fragrance of the world of tranquil extinction. So today, in our Kyoji tradition, we observe the removal of the bandage from Nichiren Shonin that we placed at the beginning of the Komatsubara persecution on November the 11th. Many other traditions within Nichiren Shu, this is done at Yushukaishue Kamite, but we, in our Kyoji tradition, recognize it at Ohigan in the spring. Vernal equinox. Please find it. Irisange. Yokusei. So thank you all for coming today. Today is Higane. We celebrate the eternal equinox. Equal lengths of day and night. When symbolically the realm of our ancestors and our human realm are in contact. We celebrate this at Higan in both the spring and the fall. We especially want to remember all of our ancestors. So, we have traditionally had all of our ancestors, and we do our prayers every day. But as each year, as we learn more, as I learn more as a shami, I'm not a full minister. I learn more and more of what our traditional practices are, and we have a book that is our funerary book. And in this book, it is not demarcated by year, it is not demarcated by month, it is merely demarcated by day. And so within it, each day of the week, we have different names of people who passed on that day that we remember. And then on Sunday, we will do everyone for that week. We will remember them. And as we are still in the process of compiling these, going forward from today, if you don't hear an ancestor's name, please do not be concerned. Just let us know what day they passed on, and we will put their name in the register. If you if you cannot find that out, I encourage you to please find that out. I believe, and I will confirm with Sensei, that we can use their birth date, if that's possible. But if you can remember, or if you can get a family member that remembers their specific day. So today we will use our traditional list, but going forward, let's make sure that we all have our ancestors' names. So, Higane, remembering our ancestors. One thing I want to remind everyone is that our practice is a practice that is meant to be beneficial to not only ourselves, but also 7 generations back and 7 generations forward traditionally. One of the ways that I like to look at it is that we are able to, if all time exists simultaneously according to some aspects of physics, then
us expiating our karma now and us dedicating merit to our ancestors actually helps to fix their karma in the past too. That's the way I like to look at it. I have no confirmation on this, but the way I like to believe is that any merit that I have was actually benefiting my ancestors in the time in which they lived as well. Today, as we practice, please remember your ancestors. Remember that we're chanting up and out and bright. One of the ways our lineage measures understanding within the Dharma is by the sound of your chanting. In Zen, it may be the solving of koans, or in other traditions, it might be the passing along of certain information. But in our tradition, you can hear when someone's chanting whether or not they have self-consciousness, whether or not they have let go and opened themselves up, whether or not they're chanting for themselves or whether or not they're chanting for others and all sentient beings. It's a wordless transmission, the joy that you place in your chanting and the selfless nature of your bodhisattva aspiration that sentient beings are innumerable. I vow to save them all. My defilements, my attachments, my eccentricities are innumerable. I vow to quench them all. The teachings of the Buddha are immeasurable. I vow to study them all. The way of the Buddha is unexcelled. I vow to attain the Master One. This comes out in your chanting because it's your aspiration that you wish to do what all Buddhas think constantly of. How can I cause all sentient beings to enter into the unsurpassed way and quickly become Buddhas? And the way that we do that is by chanting and sharing the chanting of Namu Myo Horin Dekyo. I take refuge in the Lotus Sutra, the one from law. And just by someone hearing even a syllable, or even a 50th of a syllable, according to the sutra, you are assured of enlightenment. Which means that everyone who walks past this temple when someone's chanting, everyone who happens past you as you're chanting out loud or under your breath, or just meets you and ends up talking to you about the Dharma, this is because of their connection to the sutra, their merit, and you are providing them the opportunity for them to reconnect, thereby assuring their enlightenment. Right? I very much think about chapter 20 of the Lotus Sutra, Never Despising Bodhisattva, because whenever Never Despising Bodhisattva dealt with a difficult person or a difficult situation, he would just put his hands together in Gassho, bow and say, I shall never disparage you, never talk ill of you. Right? Because one day you will be a Buddha. Now imagine if we did that to everyone who disparaged us, who pushed our buttons, who said negative things towards us, who ignored us or took us for granted, or all of these things that we feel the hurt of our ego from. Imagine if instead, every one of these people, we put our hands in Gassho and said, I shall never disparage you because one day you shall become a Buddha. Now, what happened to Never Despising Bodhisattva was that people hit him and threw rocks at him and tile pieces and sticks. And he would run away, not necessarily standing there taking it from them, and from a distance still turn around and say, I shall never disparage you because one day you shall become Buddhas. Over and over and over again. Arrogant people disliked him. Who are you to say that I'm going to be anything? Right? But yet he focused, and every time he bowed to the Buddha within them. So never disparage you because one day you shall become a Buddha. And later, as a result, he became a Buddha. And all of those people who disparaged him went to the Vichy hell for innumerable kalpa, but came back to learn the same Dharma from him, it says. The way I look at it is that when people disparage a practitioner of the Lotus Sutra, their karma's coming out. They have a connection, right? And maybe they have to persecute you a bit for them to finally understand the error of their ways. And this is what Nichiren Shonin had to deal with all the time. We have these banners for Komatsubara. He's survived so many different persecutions, and at every different point, he merely put his hands together in his heart in Gassho and said, I shall never disparage you because one day you shall become a Buddha. And as a matter of fact, he would even go so far as to say that because they punished him or persecuted him for his faith, that it was proof that his faith was real, that it was an opportunity for him to give of himself for his faith. He would say at times, how many lifetimes have I given for a wife and a child for this or that? How many lifetimes have I given for the Lotus Sutra? So he looked at that as proof of the Lotus Sutra. Chapter 13 says that you will be persecuted because, unfortunately, nobody likes to hear that everybody's equal. For whatever reason, nobody likes to hear that. You're equal. No. I'm better. That person definitely not be my equal. So that enlightened wish for all beings to achieve enlightenment in this body, in this lifetime, now, that's what the core of this practice is. Right? That's what the core of chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo is. It's the aspirational aim of wanting every thinking and feeling being. And I can't define what those are. That might be a tomato, that might be your pet, that might be your neighbor, whoever it is, however you want to define it, but every thinking being has the capacity for enlightenment. In this body now, in this Saha world, not somewhere else. Which means that, again, every person we meet, we have to, in our hearts, think, "Shall never disparage you because one day you will become a Buddha." Let that come out in your chanting today. That aspirational aim for all beings to find their highest natures, for all beings to attain enlightenment, for all beings to come to this unsurpassed way and quickly become Buddhas. Please turn to page 5 of your blue Dharma book. Honor be to the great mandala, the perfect circle of all honorable ones revealed by our founder Nichiren Shonin. Honor be to the eternal Buddha Shakyamuni, our original teacher, the Lord of the Dharma, our great benefactor who attained enlightenment in the Pagodas fast. Honor be to the Sutra of the Lotus Flower of the wonderful Dharma, the teaching of equality, the great wisdom, the one vehicle. Honor be to our founder, the great Bodhisattva Nichiren Shonin, dispatched by our original Buddha. Honor be to Rinpoche Acharya Nichiji Shonin, the first overseas missionary. Honor be to the protected deities of the Dharma. We honor all of you. May you come to this consecrated place out of your compassion towards us. See us with the light of your wisdom and accept our offering of chanting the sutra and Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Please turn to page 9 of your blue Dharma booklet. Verses for opening the sutra. The most profound and wonderful teaching is presented in this sutra. This sutra is difficult to meet even once in thousands and millions of aeons. Now we have been able to see, hear, receive, and keep this sutra. May we understand the most excellent teaching of the Tathagata. The most excellent teaching of the great vehicle is very difficult for us to understand. We shall be able to approach enlightenment when we see, hear, or touch the sutra. Expounding is the Buddha's wisdom, expounded is the Buddha's truth. The letters composing the sutra are the Buddha's manifestation. Just as her reading was taught by something put nearby, so shall we be richly benefited by this sutra, even when we are not aware of being so benefited, because infinite merits are accumulated in this sutra. We can expiate our past transgressions, do good deeds, and attain Buddhahood by the merits of this sutra. It does not matter whether we are wise or not, or whether we believe the sutra or slander it. This sutra is the most wonderful and most excellent taught by the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. We meet and receive it, birth after birth, world after world. Please turn to page 11 of your blue Dharma booklet. 오랭개교 오벤 온라인이 이지세산
주산마양존이 기도자리 허주소물 기에 인들로 거시에 만개난 유리사이 소만 작으시 무슨 소그로시 소리자라 무슨로신건 작은 샘만 먹으면 실소 무슨 인여서 무슨 물여서 유여서 진여서 먼저 유진진이서 의어지서 스리스한계 자리 없으소 주소금지랄 주주랭겐 주주리 오는 건조는 주오벤 인도 주조 요리소 장소리 사랑 노라이 오벤 치켄 하라미스 아이 주소를 사리 어스 노라이 치켄 고라이 진놈 물려물게 이물소리 센조게 라스산마이 진유물 살고 유리산이조으로 사리 어스 노라이 노주주은 내스요세소 원리주남 액가 슈신 사리 어스 슈요 원신물로 유행미소으로 주시 사리 어스 무주무센스소리 사랑무소조주 다이지케음난계시 호주이 무스요 무스나요 무민쇼지소 쇼이쇼 요세소 요세쇼 요세 타요세 리요세 사요세 인요세 엔요세 가요세 호요세 혼마스 규교소 쇼이쇼 요세 쇼요세 쇼요세 타요세 리요세 사요세 인요세 엔요세 가요세 호요세 혼마스 규교소 쇼이쇼 요세 쇼요세 쇼요세 타요세 리요세 사요세 인요세 엔요세 가요세 호요세 혼마스 규교소
35 of the blue drum. 오랭개교 오라이주로 온다이주로 지가 도규부주라이
쇼교쇼고 스드요 야크센만 고크사야 소기 요선 도교 슈슈 여여기로 부스러 니라이 무료 고기노 슈노고 오백년내 함기 데스그 가스로 도주시 센터 가도 주로 시소진스리로 엔도 슈도 시던니 슈겐슈겐가메스도 고유요 자리겐하에렌도 니소 마스도 신슈노 기신도 시시기유넌 기신정겐도 스프시 자르신요 기가 유주소 주시스려 유생야지도 슈도 도사이시 주메스 이오벤 이오벤 주메스 주메스 요 sho hoku shujo kugyo shinjo shanabu hori churi setsu mujo ho no hoku monshi anni ga metsuro ga kensho shujo motsu zai oku kai oku igen shinro go sho hatsu go ingo shinen go kanshi setto jinzu riki no se o aso ito no sai yo ju sen ju yo so ju so ju so ken ho jin tai ka so so ji ka shi do an non ken jin do ju man hon rin so do ka ju ju ho so an ho ju ta ke ka shu so so ju ran so ken ka ken ju so sa shu ji ka ju man da da ke san bu su ju lai shu ga jo do fu ki ji shu ken so jin fu fu so fu no no se shi shu ju man se so sai shu do ki a fu go in men ta so ji go fu mon san bo no so fu shu ju do ju wa shi ji ji da so tai ben da shin sai ji se o wa fu ji ji shu se 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 ju nu yo shu nai ken bu sa ji se 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 nan ji ga ji ri no se en o so mu yo ju no bu shu o ju shu o so o bu no o bu shi sha o o shi so ji o ran yo yo jin bu su o jin bu o no li sen o en ji ji o shi o ji su sai ji wan shi bu no sen o mo ga ya ri se bu bu shou ju gen sha yi wan bu ten do ji su sai ni non na su ji shou gen ga o ji shou shou ji xin ho ji su zhan go yo bu ta o ran bu do ju ga do ji shu zhou zhou do ju zhou do sui mo shou ga do ji se shu zu ho mai ji sa ze yen ji ga do shu zhou mo gu yu nu zhou do so gu zhou shu shi.
The Sutra of the Lotus Flower of the Wonderful Dharma, Chapter 21, the Supernatural Powers of the Tathagata. The Buddhas, the world saviors, have great supernatural powers. They display their immeasurable supernatural powers in order to cause all living beings to reach the success of their tongues, reach the heaven of Brahman. Innumerable rays of light are emitted from their bodies. For those who are seeking the enlightenment of the Buddha, the Buddhas do these things rarely to be seen. The sound of coughing of the Buddhas and the sound of their fingers snapping reverberate over the world of the 10 quarters and the ground of those worlds placed in the 6 ways of Buddhas joyfully display their immeasurable supernatural powers because the Bodhisattvas from underground vow to keep this sutra after my extinction. Even if I pray for innumerable kalpas, the keeper of this sutra to whom it is to be transmitted, I cannot praise him highly enough. His merits are as limitless, as infinite, as boundless as the skies of the world of the 10 quarters. Anyone who keeps the sutra will be able to see me. He also will be able to see many treasures. Buddha, the Buddhas
of my replicas and the bodhisattvas whom I have taught today. Anyone who keeps this sutra will be able to cause me to rejoice. He also will be able to bring joy to the Buddhas of my replicas and also to many treasures. Buddha who once passed away, he also will be able to see the present, past, and future Buddhas of the world of the 10 quarters. Make offerings to them and cause them to rejoice. The Buddha sat at the place of enlightenment and obtained the hidden core. Anyone who keeps the sutra will be able to obtain the same before long. Anyone who keeps the sutra will be able to expound the meanings of the teachings and the names and words of this sutra. Their eloquence will be as boundless and as unhindered as the wind in the sky. Anyone who understands why the Buddhas expounded these sutras, who knows the position of this sutra in a series of sutras, and who expounded after my extinction according to its true meaning, will be able to eliminate the darkness of the living beings of the world, where he walks about just as the light of the sun and the moon eliminates all darkness. He will be able to cause innumerable bodhisattvas to dwell finally in the one vehicle. Therefore the man of wisdom who hears the benefits of these merits and who keeps this sutra after my extinction will be able to attain the enlightenment of the Buddha definitely and doubtlessly.
Today's Soken, instruction from Nichiren Shonin, is entitled Isho Jobutsu Sho, on attaining Buddhahood in this lifetime. If the minds of sentient beings are impure, then their lands will be impure. But if their minds are pure, then their lands will be pure too. We say pure land and impure land. However, there is no real difference between the two lands. It all depends on the state of our mind. It is the same between ordinary sentient beings and Buddhas. When we are deluded, then we are just called sentient beings. When we are awakened, then we are called Buddhas. For example, if you polish a tarnished mirror, then it will shine like a jewel. Even now, the deluded mind of darkest ignorance in a single thought moment is a tarnished mirror that, if shine, will certainly become clear. There are no existing copies of the original Shobu Mondo Sho, supposedly written by Nichiren Shonin at the age of 44. It is listed in the Rokuge, mirror of the true thusness of the Dharma nature. Have deep faith and polish the mirror of your mind, day and night, morning and evening, without fail. How should we polish it? Just chant Nam-myo Horenge Kyo to polish it. Please place your hands in Gasho. We're chanting the whole Daimoku. Nam-myo Horenge Kyo. Nam-myo Horenge Kyo. Please turn to page 66 of the Blue Dharma booklet. The difficulty of retaining the sutra, from chapter 11, Beholding the Stupa of Treasures,
It is difficult to keep this sutra.
I shall be glad to see anyone keeping it even for a moment. So will all the other Buddhas. He will be praised by all the Buddhas. He will be a man of valor, a man of endeavor. He should be considered to have already observed the precepts and practice the Buddha. He will quickly attain the unsurpassed enlightenment of the Buddha. Anyone who reads and recites this sutra in the future is a true son of mine. He shall be considered to live on the stage of purity and good. Anyone after my extinction who understands the meaning of this sutra will be the eye of the world of gods and men. Anyone who encounters this sutra even for a moment in this dreadful world should be honored with offerings by all gods and men.
Please place your hands in Gassho. We humbly consider that the wonderful teaching of the middle way, Dharma nature, is the wonderful Dharma of the original cause and original effect of the perfect harmony of the three truths. The Tathagatas of the past, present, and future realized this and attained the unbreakable Vajrapati. Shakyamuni, the world-honored one, Lord of the teachings, expounded this Dharma and names it Yo-ho Renge Kyo. This is the great Dharma of extinguishing the defilements by pouring upon them the sweet Amrita of the Dharma. This is the great direct way of reaching the other shore and attaining Buddhahood in one's very body. Today is the midweek of the spring equinox. We chant the wonderful sutra, observe the service, praise this wonderful Dharma, and hold a lecture meeting. We offer these things for this superior meritorious occasion of Higan. Regarding all sentient beings, if there are any who have not yet abandoned greed, may they do so. If there are any who have yet to abandon hatred, may they do so. If there are any who have yet to abandon delusion, may they do so. May all sentient beings abandon the one-sided and wicked views of the mundane and super-mundane and follow the correct middle way. May all sentient beings keep apart from dust, abandon suffering, and enter the Bodhi way. May we, the practitioners of this faith, become devout, upright, and gentle, and never lose our reverence of the three treasures. The clergy and laity practice and praise the Buddha together as one. Our efforts in faith and practice continue to develop. The aspiration for awakening continues to grow. And through these efforts, may the wishes for the next be satisfied. Also, may all the former head ministers of this temple develop the virtue of the Bodhisattva way. That is the wonderful and perfect way and approaches and enters the Great Awakening. Through our adornments, they have been reborn in a better world, and in that way, we requite their favors and appreciate their virtue. With this merit, the spirits of the deceased who are related to this temple's members and followers, and all spirits in the ocean of the Dharma realm, whether related or unrelated, can increase their awakening across the great ocean of samsara and reach the other shore of Parinirvana. May they achieve the great sublime, great reward atop the pure land of Eagle Peak. May the merits we have accumulated by this offering be distributed among all living beings, and may we and all other living beings attain the enlightenment of the Buddha. And may the Dharma realm be equally benefited. Today we remember all of the ancestors, friends, and family who have passed, who are in sickness or distress of this particular temple. On today, the vernal equinox of Higan. We remember those in sickness and distress. We remember Gail Bull and Barbara Hardwick, Yosho and Fran Parker, Catherine May and Ricky Tabot, James Hempsey and Helen Lawson, Darren Floyd and Desi Floyd, Derek Floyd, Cush Floyd, Jane Foreman Tartaro and Charles D. Steederman, Hope Mosier, the patients at the Rochester Psychiatric Center, the victims of the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting, Lucas Scott McCare, Barbara Hardwick, Jason Keeler, the Harisi family, Kim Williams, Jack Williams, Melissa Earhart, Donna, Nancy Floyd, Nadine Morsch, David Norton, Damian Reddick, Wendy Prevost, Lee McCann, Jesse Schaefer, Lotus Meshi, Joseph Lafone, Tom and Lila Morsch. Those in memoriam who have passed, we remember the Hardaway family, the Kroll and Crane families, the Winter and Sparks families, the Valentin family, Jack Parker, the Bigelow and Johnson families, the Chauvin DeVoe families, the Newski and Krasnowski families, Daniel Cushman, the Fay family, the Rivas family, Kazuko Jordan, Cedarman and Kobayashi families, the Morrissey family, the Jordan family, the Abad family, the Hesmarsky family, the Knopf family, James Conklin and Sumiko Suzuki. We remember Dennis Sullivan and Terry Paquin, Bill Mears Sensei, Harp Sensei, Errol Scott, Wayne, Linda Williams, Aunt Barbara, Michael Maffei, David Spence, the Adams family, Marie Shim, Jesse Rogers, Thomasina Jones, John Coltrane, Louis Lugo, Anthony Persino, John Peterson Holcomb, Grant Holcomb II, Dan Clark, as well as all who have no one to pray for them. Please put your hands in Joshua. Amen. Please place your hands in Joshua. For the she saved, the quarter 8,000 days. Shujomu Hensegando. Sentient beings are innumerable. I vow to save them all. Onomu Shusegandan. Our defilements are inexhaustible. I vow to quench them all. Omonmu Jinseganchi. The Buddha's teachings are immeasurable. I vow to set them all. Utsudo Mujo Seganjo. The way of the Buddha is thyself. I vow to attain the path sublime with this body. Until I attain Buddhahood, I shall hold my faith in the Lotus Sutra. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Farewell, true soul. Yui Gansho Venerable ones, remember us. Be where your light is coming and have your compassion towards us. Thank you all very much. It's good to see everybody today again. Thank you so much for coming and honoring your ancestors, our ancestors, your ancestors and my ancestors. Also within this, I would like to, as a personal note, I would like to remind everyone that this earth is our ancestor too, that she's our first mother, and that we should remember this. We should take care of her, we should honor her, especially as spring starts to come. We have to remember, how would we feel if spring didn't come this year, right? If it wasn't for this that we take for granted, that we view sometimes, that we say, well, we use too much of what they have. She's our mom, and we owe her that debt of gratitude. And the first of the 4 favors is to your parents. Okay? So please remember your parents, your grandparents, but most especially today, let's honor Mother Earth too as a parent. Okay? Thank you all very much. We have a lovely repast today. We have, at the end of this month, we have our next speaker in our speaker series. It's Rawson from Rochester Roots and various other organizations that Rawson heads. We also have a kimchi making seminar on a Wednesday evening here at the temple. I'm going to teach everybody how to make the kimchi that we make here at the temple, so that you can do it on your own. I will give instruction on 2 different types of kimchi. And then going forward, we are still looking for more and more speakers that can talk about connected living, mind, body, and spirit. Come at it from any angle. Please coordinate. Tristan is the head of that right now. So anyone that you have, or you yourself feel like you want to give a talk about something, a speech, maybe you want to talk about haiku, maybe you want to talk about music, maybe you want to talk about cooking, whatever it may be, right? Please feel free to volunteer. Or we're also looking for, again, anything that you feel is a valuable skill or knowledge that you possess that you could pass on, especially to people in the inner city, how to be efficient, whether it's gardening, canning, cooking, anything like this that we can help raise people up. One of the passions that I have is that in studying history, history has proven that people who are worried about subsisting, who are worried about surviving, cannot think about higher level order things like spirituality, like loving kindness, like preparation for the future and things like that. There's whole studies on the scarcity mind and what happens. And so first thing we have to do is get people self-sufficient so that they have enough food, so that they have enough safety, so that they have enough around them to be in that space where now they can think about others, where they can think about loving kindness, so they're not just living in the animal realm anymore, the Gaki realm. We have to help raise them up, and we can't just do it solely by just chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Yes, this is a fantastic thing, but we need to also put our money where our mouth is, right? And do some stuff in the community. So anything that you can think of. Right now we're having our elections. We're talking about all these things, the direction of our temple. Please get your voice out there. What do you think we should do? This is not a top-down model. Right? This is a bottom-up model. We're all growing this temple. We all have things that we're really passionate about, that we think that the temple could help our community, our society. Nichiren Shonin talked about, in his time period in Japan, he felt that all of the hurricanes and floods and fires and civil war and strife and anger between people came from people not following the Lotus Sutra, not following the Buddha's Dharma, right? Which causes all of this friction between us. So let's think about that, right? We can save our country. We can save our society by the actions that we do here. I know it seems a little over the top for me to say that, but it's the truth. Look at what we've done so far. Would any of us have met otherwise? Much less become family if it wasn't for the Buddha's Dharma, right? And specifically, if we got to thank somebody, I got to thank my master, Kanchen Shonin. He is maddening and frustrating for me as a student, right? Because he holds me accountable for everything, right? Just like you get frustrated at your dad sometimes. But if it wasn't for him, there'd be no Nichiren in Buddhism here in Western Europe now. So I have to give him props for that, no matter what. So our abbot is one of the big reasons too. But so are you. Each of you has a connection to Buddhism. Each of you has had a connection to Buddhism for innumerable kalpa of lifetimes. And if it wasn't for you, this temple wouldn't exist. So thank you all very much for listening to my spiel. We have a lovely repast planned for everyone. Please enjoy. Tristan, did you? Oh, okay, we're good. All right, thank you very much. All right. Awesome.